Welcome to our deals of the week this week. We're going to do something just a little tiny bit different. And the reason is I've been seeing prices dropping. I think if you're out there looking for a house, you know that this is the case, that there are deals to be had. And what I've been seeing, it's not a rule here. Obviously, great neighborhoods, prices are still holding up. But what I'm seeing a lot of is this sort of idea that if you bought a house in and around St. Pete, a decent house in 2023, and you're selling it now, it's a good chance you are going to lose money. You may sell it for what you bought it for, you may sell it for slightly more, but given all the costs and real estate commissions and all that stuff, you're probably going to take a loss. So I was trying to see kind of where we are, like historically. We kind of peaked 2023-ish. We've been coming down since this year with higher interest rates. A lot of buyers have left, especially if they need to get mortgages. Cash buyers are in a good spot right now. So I wanted to see like where prices are. If you could still get a house for like 2018 prices, 2017 prices. So I have not looked at any of these. You can see these on the screen. And the only requirement is they are 2 to 5 bedrooms and over 1,000 square feet and under $200 a square foot, which is a price that I would say maybe 2018, 2019, you could still do. And then it just shot up from there. So how much have we retraced? So I'm going to run through there's I think 12 houses. We're going to try and get through as many as we can. So the first one we're going to see, you see this, 2,300 square feet, 325. It looks like some sort of I don't even know what kind of style this is, but it probably didn't begin its life this way. The only picture they have is the front of the house, always a bad sign, which usually means either tenants or it's unsafe to go inside. I don't know what the situation is here. I would bet this house had siding at some point. You can see already sort of the buckling of the stucco here. The house, the color doesn't work for me. It's hard to tell. We're not getting any pictures of the inside. So let me see if we can find anything interesting about this house, other than the fact that it's $141 a square foot, which I'm telling you is probably going back to like 2014 or 2015 prices. It's on the south side of St. Pete. Okay, here we go. This is a short sale. So my guess is maybe this price is real, maybe it isn't, but let's look for another clue. If you're out there looking for bargains and you're willing to get into a short sale situation, why would there be a $50,000 increase in this house? I have my suspicions. Let's take a look. Oh, the house was built in 1923 also, so could be a bit of an insurance nightmare unless it's been updated. So let's see at the price. Look at the price action. So they put it on the market last September for $275. It immediately went pending. Somebody saw a value at $119 a square foot. That's dirt cheap, obviously. If the house is salvageable, there's some money to be made there. It didn't work. And then it went back on the market the next month for $325, and that's where it has been ever since. So for 6 months. So this is my guess is what happened here. They put it at $275. No bank approval, obviously. It's a short sale. The owners owe more on their mortgage and late payments. And so they're going to try to sell it at a loss. The bank has to approve that. So perhaps it went for sale at $275. Somebody offered $250. The owner said, great, I'm going to short sale it and whatever. The bank came back a month later, most likely, and said, no, there's no way we're going to sell it for that price. So this buyer walked away, and maybe they got some hint that the bank would accept $325, and that's why they went that high. We're not going to know. It's not probably terribly important, other than to say that even at $141 a square foot, this house is a lot of trouble, in my estimation. Unless you're an investor, this is probably not going to work for you. Let's jump on to house number 2, also on the south side of St. Pete. I'm not going to go through too much detail on these houses. I just want to see if there's even any possibility. So here we are at $178 a square foot. So we're probably at 2017, maybe 2019 prices for a house in this condition. You can see the roof doesn't look great already. You're not going to expect to get a renovated house. So $178 a square foot, and looking at the description, 2 homes on 1 lot, that already tells me that they are probably combining the square footage of both houses, because this shows 25, 24 square feet. This doesn't strike me as a 2,500 square foot house from the front. So already this is suspect. You can, I guess, theoretically count, add up the usable living square footage, but it's not like one house under one roof is 2,500 square feet. So I also have some suspicions about where, because this house looks to me, I mean, honestly, it looks like it's more like 1,500 square feet. And I doubt the second house is, whatever, 1,000 square feet if it's a garage apartment. But let's buzz through a couple of pictures here. I mean, the first floor looks great. Already I'm seeing these stairs. I mean, do these look original to the house for you? They don't to me, which tells me, and you can see how kind of narrow it is. We'll keep going with the pictures. I have some suspicions about the upstairs, but let's, the house looks nice and clean. The kitchen's tiny. This is not a 2,500 square foot house. This is a smaller main house with a garage apartment or whatever. So not terrible, not terrible at all. There's been some updates. Obviously, we see here somebody tried to do their own refinishing of the tub. And as is always the case when you don't hire a professional for these kind of things, it often doesn't work very well. That's a shower, I guess. That's pretty small. Yeah, okay. So here's the other part. I bet they're counting this as living square footage. And I don't know what this peak is, but we'll say this window is 36. We'll say that's 2 and then another 1. So I don't know if this is the case, but is this ceiling 6 feet? I mean, if you were tall, you could only walk down the center of this room. Anywhere else, you would hit your head. That's not living square footage to me. Not being critical. I'm just saying that, upon closer look, I'm not necessarily seeing the value here. There's some nice parts. It's an older house, and it's, some nice things about it. It's got some character. It's got a lot of rooms and stuff. But yeah, I'm just not seeing. I'm not going to waste any more time on this one. 178 square foot. Yeah, an investor will go in. It's an income property, whatever. Or an extended family situation might work. But I'm not crazy about that upstairs square footage, unless you're like, 5'4" or under. You're going to have a hard time walking around in there. Let's go to the next one. It's a 1,800 square feet. It sounds good. I can already tell. I have not seen this one, but I know these houses. I know them because I've shown a million of them. This is Mainlands of Tamarack, which let's just double check. I'm going to Control F here and do 55. And let's see what we got. Yes, this is 55. Oh, it is Mainlands of Tamarack, a 55 square or 55 and up community. So it's age restricted. 189 is still pretty good in there. This house is dated. I'm not going to waste any time on the pictures. So this is a renovation situation for somebody. That's not a terrible price, but it's not blowing me away either. 339 in there. I mean, a few years back, there were barely any houses in the 2s. I'm not saying it's overpriced. I just don't. It's not like a super deal to me. We're not looking at 55 and up. Now this one looks good. It's 400,000, 2,044 square feet, $65,000 price drop. This would be the thing that concerns me. It's on MLK Jr. Street on the south side. I'll just show you real quick in the map because this one does have some possibilities. It's pretty close to the lake over here, so I'm going to take a guess. It's in the flood zone. Lakewood Estates is a great neighborhood. Pinellas Point down here is great. This is nice. Coquina Key is nice. This is not a bad area, but MLK, I'm gonna just so you can see, I've shown this in other videos, but I just want you to see for sure. MLK and 4th Street are 2 pretty major roads that go north-south in St. Pete, and they go from one end to the other. So this is going to be on a busy street. Let's see if we can take a quick look at the street view because the house itself looks great. It's not terrible right here. I don't know if this is coming out kind of. So you see there's one car on the road and one down the street. And this is the lake over here. I think this is a lake or Boyd Hill, which is a nature preserve, which is really, really nice. But you're going to get a discount on such a busy street. Let's see if there's anything else weird about this house. Looks like it's been renovated. I'm going to guess this is in a flood zone because it's across the street from the lake. And let's see, there it is, flood zone AE. Uh, I'm not interested because I'm not buying a house in a flood zone. If you are, that's fine. Take precautions, get flood insurance, the whole deal. This house looks pretty nice to me, and it looks like it has been renovated, and it looks like they did a really nice job. Well, I don't think those are new kitchen cabinets because I can see already some peeling here. Looks like they added new hardware and stuff and a kind of a high-end stove. I'm not sure why they wouldn't have refaced these cabinets at 400, but that's the seller's prerogative. Floors look nice. Some new windows in there, new bathroom. So this one looks pretty nice. It's got an upstairs. Somebody put some money into this house, and there's plenty of square footage. This is not a terrible deal at $196 a square foot for a move-in ready house, but you've got two negatives here. You're in flood zone, and you're on a pretty busy street. So if that's not for you, I don't think this house would work. So let's see how many more we can get through because this is interesting to me. $499 for 2,628 square feet on this one. And this is in Grovemont neighborhood, so not too terrible there. $190 a square foot. I don't think we're in a flood zone. Let me just double check on this one because I don't think, nope, this is an X flood zone, so we're not going to pay, we're not going to discount the house for that. It is, oh, that's what I meant to say. Just looking at the address, 22nd and 50th. So in St. Pete, you have 38th Avenue, which runs east-west, and then the next one is 54th Avenue. Those are major roads, and you can get onto the interstate from both of those. And in between that is 50th. But there's an overpass at 22nd, I believe. Let's double check, because the house looks great, $190 a square foot. Let's see how and if that would be a negative traffic-wise. Let's see, I think it would be this way. Okay, there's the interstate right there. So you might get a little interstate noise and you can't get on the interstate from there. But let's take a look at a couple of pictures. The house looks pretty good to me. You can see the double yellow line here. So the street, is a little busier. It's not terrible. Looks like a nice renovation. I mean, new kitchen. This is big. This is not bad. I'm going to tell you right now. A lot of details they put in here. Upstairs, I mean, I know we're going way, way too fast on these pictures. I don't want to get hung up on any of this stuff, but man, if you're looking for square footage at 2,600 at 190 a square foot, I think this would be a house worth looking at. It's been on the market for quite a while, so obviously we would get it less than that. This is not terrible. This could be a winner and it's sold. So here's what we're talking about. I was talking earlier, 2023, you're probably going to lose money. 2024, you're definitely going to lose money unless you did a reno. And I believe they did some renovations. I'm going to look at previous pictures, just a couple. Yeah, you can see the house was painted. The interior, it looks like it had already been done. Yeah, it had already been done. So I'm going to say that this one might still be overpriced because we're 2 years out. It doesn't look like they've done much except for painted the house. And so I don't know how you're going to make money from 2024. So, but still not terrible. Still not terrible. I would take a look at that one. Let's look at, I think we got time for one or two more. 6623 16th Street. 16th Street is busy. I'm going to show you that right off the bat so we know. This might be on the corner. This is 66th and 16th. So let's see if the street view indication. Yeah, so 16th there is split. And there's like a little sort of drainage area there. So the street is relatively busy, but you have street and it's one lane for cars. So it's not terrible. 16th Street closer to downtown is 4-lane and it's super, super busy. So it's not too bad down this way. $177 a square foot. What is wrong with this house? I don't know. Is it in a flood zone? Up in that area, I would say there's a possibility. We have an X500 flood zone, which means it is not in a flood zone, so that's a good sign. Let's see if there's anything else weird about this house. because that's pretty good square footage. They started at 549, they're down 50 grand. I'll tell you the only thing that I suspect here could be layout. Why is there a big AC unit sticking out at the front of this house? These houses, I mean, let's be honest, we know if you've looked in St. Pete at all at houses, these were built as 2-1s with a garage, most of them, maybe 2-2. So this garage got converted, but that doesn't account for all of the extra square footage because this house is pretty big. I mean, look at the size of this living room. I don't like this at all, but that's just a minor detail. I mean, this house is huge, huge living area. You have multiple seating areas in the main room. Does it have a central AC unit though? Because I'm not crazy about that at all. I don't see any vents up here anywhere. Normally we would have a vent, we're not quite to the middle of the room, so maybe we can't see it here, but there would be a vent over here. So I'm not seeing central air conditioning. Well, okay, never mind. This would be your air handler and the return here, so you're okay with the AC. I don't know why they still have that. But this one looks really nice. If you need square footage, I mean, it's almost too big, the living room. An enclosed kitchen, looks like some renovations. These cabinets are not, they don't look to be, they're not custom cabinets. Formica countertop, you can always tell. Look for a little darker colored edge along there. And oftentimes, I mean, most of the time with granite or solid surface, you'll see a bullnose or something rounded here. Not always, but that edge gives it away, that darker edge right there. So that's a Formica countertop. So somebody did a kitchen renovation at some point in the past. It's not a new one, nor is it super high-end custom, but you're still getting a ton of square footage. This is not a terrible house at all. So we're not going to spend too much time, but you get 4 bedrooms, 3 baths at $177 a square foot in a 2024 roof. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. This is a good deal. They've dropped the price. It may be just a little bit too big, and when you get to a certain point around 15 or 1600, maybe 1700, you get peak price per square foot for the most part. I mean, actually, smaller houses get peak price per square foot, but it starts to really start coming down once you get over 2000 on a house like this, a house that's been either added onto or converted. So anyway, that's a definite possibility. And let's do one more house. This is a 4-bedroom, 1-bath. I'm not terribly interested in that. And then we're going to get into Clearwater. Let's do this last one in Gulfport, which is a good area if it's not in a flood zone. And we're at $191 a square foot. Even if this house needs some work, that's still a good deal for Gulfport. If it's got the Gulfport address, once you get outside of Gulfport, the prices start to come down. So we got a new roof in 2026 here. That's good. Something weird about this house, though. What is it? It's a 3-2 with a potential to be converted to a 4-2. So it's got 2022 AC, new roof. Okay, this is always concerns me. Unfinished remodel. I mean, if you're an investor, these are the things to jump on. Somebody ran out of money. They need to get out, and that presents an opportunity. This house has been on the market 242 days, a very, very long time. And we'll take a couple we'll look at a couple of the pictures. So let's see if we get any story. Okay, yeah, this makes sense. Somebody paid $337 for this house back in 2021. That concerns me too. I don't mind if a renovation goes on 6 months and people run out of steam or money and then they have to get out. But if somebody bought this house in 2021 and started renovating it over time and wasn't able to finish it, that concerns me a little bit more. But they did pay $337 and they tried to sell it last August at $599, which 29 a square foot for a house that needed renovations is not terrible, but 600 grand for a house that needs a lot of renovations, especially a wood frame house, probably is. So they've been inching their way down over the last 7 or 8 months, and they're down to $498. Let's look at a couple of pictures to see if this house can be saved. Curb value or curb appeal looks pretty good. Some cleanup and paint or whatever. Okay, all right. So looked like somebody was trying. Maybe there was cabinets here. You see patches. Baseboards have been removed. Oh, okay. This was an island here or a counter they tore out, never got around to doing. So who knows if they lived there during this time. The worst of all staircases, these tight spiral staircases, Good luck getting anything up there. Some drywall still sitting around. The baseboards are out. I don't know if this tile is new. It could be. Well, no, I don't think it is new because we saw the missing pieces from the kitchen counter. And then this always strikes me as very strange. Like, what was this house before? Because nobody would have designed a house and put the electrical panel in the living room. So I don't know. And then, God, this is just to me, the worst. I mean, this predates this owner for sure, but to open up the second floor, they just punched a small hole in the ceiling and then put a very tight spiral staircase because they may not have had enough room to do a staircase this way. But I don't like it. That would have to be changed. But still a lot of room. Looks like a kind of an in-law suite upstairs. I mean, there's some effort here to put this house back together, and they just ran out of money. This is an opportunity for somebody. Obviously, like, don't discount little things like this. This is big hazard. You can see the wood rot here. This would all have to be torn up along with a bunch of other stuff. So there's a lot of work here, but for an investor, obviously, maybe at 425, this house should sell. Maybe even a little bit less than that, to be honest with you, because it's going to need $150,000 worth of work, just off the top of my head. Drop a comment. Let me know what you think. Are there any houses here that you would jump on? I think there were a couple of deals in here, but I think that if you're setting your filters under $200 a square foot and you're not an investor, you're probably, I don't want to say wasting your time, but if you're a cash buyer and you're willing to do renos yourself, by all means do it. But I still think that the deals to be had right now are in the 240 to 280 a square foot range. You may need a little elbow grease, a little bit of polish, a little bit of updates, but you can get deals in that price range. Once you get below that, you're looking at projects. So drop a comment. Let me know what you think. My name is Steve Reynolds. I'm a realtor here in St. Petersburg, Florida. If you're thinking about buying or selling anywhere in the Bay Area, give me a call, shoot me a text, send me an email. I would love to help you out. And with that, I will see you next time.